Very good afternoon to all. Firstly, I would like to thank the Department of Tourism for giving me this opportunity to talk about the film ecosystem and film tourism in Jammu and Kashmir. I am Director of Information, Jammu and Kashmir, and the Department of Information is basically implementing the film policy. We are looking after all the film permissions and the film shooting. Can we go to the next slide, please? As I'm sure you're all aware, JNK has had very rich history with filmmaking and very close connections with Bollywood. So two of the snapshots that you can see here are Kashmir Ki Kali and Bobby, and plus there are a lot of other iconic movies. Jangli, Betab, and countless others. So filmmaking is not new to JNK. It has a long tradition, and some of these movies are so iconic that in fact some places in Jammu and Kashmir, like the Betab Valley in Pahalgam, that has been named after the movie Betab was shot here. Similarly, the hut which you can see on the slide, this was called the Bobby Hut after the famous song from Bobby was shot in Gulmarg. In the recent years, the government of Jammu and Kashmir has been trying to revive that former glory once again, and I would say that we have been successful to some extent. In the past 2-3 years, we have processed more than 350 film shooting permissions, and we are hopeful that in the coming years, this number will increase manyfold, and we have more and more filmmakers coming to JNK and shooting their films there. So, talking about film tourism, I think in the previous session, the respected Chief Secretary made a very strong point that the example of Ladakh and how a single movie could enhance the number of films visited. So films as a visual audience have a very powerful impact. I think all of you would agree that the way films can connect with, audiences can connect with films, and the way films can capture audiences, that is bigger than any sort of marketing that the government or any other agency can do. So filmmaking, of course, has a crucial role to play, and of any destination that is showcased in film or TV definitely sees a huge increase in the number of tourist visits. People come to experience different seasons, different cropping patterns. So again, this small clip can showcase Kashmir in a way that it's difficult in any other forms of media. Whenever somebody promotes or shoots in JNK, they act as ambassadors for Jammu and Kashmir, and more tourists are attracted towards Jammu and Kashmir. That's why the government of JNK has been quite keen in promoting filmmaking and making Jammu and Kashmir a filmmaker's paradise and an attractive destination to shoot, both for Indian as well as international audience. We've recently come up with the Jammu and Kashmir Film Policy 2024 with the objective of not only promoting film tourism but also encouraging local talent and of course bringing in investment and creating jobs for the locals of Jammu and Kashmir. So I'll quickly go over the highlights of the policy to give a brief idea of what all incentives and what all facilitation we are offering to filmmakers. So the first big feature is that filmmaking has been granted industry status. So all sort of incentives like tax incentives or other incentives that are available to industries, they are also applicable equally to film shootings as well as allied activities like theatres or cineplexes, film cities, etc. So whatever benefits are available under the JNK industrial policy, those automatically become available for filmmakers also. Next slide, please. The second big feature is the single window of clearance, and I think this is the biggest, the most important part of the policy, because most often filmmakers feel that the process of getting permissions is not very smooth and people find difficulties in getting clearances. So what we've tried to do is we created a single window portal. You only need to approach one department, which is the Department of Information. We have an online portal, you can register and apply, and all the processes dealing with different departments, whether it is the District Magistrate's Office or the Forest Department, all the coordination is handled by us, and all sorts of permissions, whether it is drone permissions or shooting in forest areas, all these permissions are processed and provided to us through this single portal itself. So our focus, our aim is that filmmakers should focus on the filmmaking part, the creative aspects of filmmaking, while the permissions are handled by the department. Next slide, please. So, to further facilitate and in continuity with the ease of doing business aspect, we have dedicated nodal officers. We assign dedicated officers for each and every shoot. There's a dedicated administrative nodal officer and a dedicated security nodal officer. So if there are any kind of issues that the filmmakers are facing, the producers are facing, they know who to contact, who to get in touch with to resolve their issues. Apart from this, we also have a nodal officer at the unit territory level. So if there are any further issues, you have somebody you can speak to and get your issues resolved. Next slide, please. Another very important feature is that the entire shooting permission process is time-bound. We have broad shooting permission. There's a legislation in the UT of J&K for the Public Service Guarantee Act. Film shooting permissions have been brought under the ambit of the Act, and we are committed to provide film shooting permissions within 30 days. But I'm happy to say that most of these permissions are being processed within 10 to 12 days, so that filmmakers can plan accordingly, execute their shoots. Next. Finally, coming to the incentives part of it, we are also offering incentives to filmmakers in the form of subsidies. The incentives differ based on the category of the movie, whether it is a feature film or a documentary, web series, TV series, but we've tried to cover most of the popular formats, and we are providing subsidies and incentives for all of these. We have incentives up to rupees 1.5 crores, and I'm sure many filmmakers will, I'm hopeful many filmmakers will come and apply and make use of these incentives to so that they can augment their costs and further facilitate production. So next slide, please. So to showcase our commitment, the government of Jammu and Kashmir has earmarked 500 crores of corpus for the next 5 years, purely for film subsidy. 100 crores sum every year. So this showcases the kind of priority and the kind of importance the government is giving to film shooting and promoting J&K as a filmmaking destination. Next slide. The incentive structure, the policy has been made as objective as possible. There is very limited discretion. We don't screen for the story or the content of the film, because we believe that the creative aspects of the filmmaking should not be affected. That should be left completely to the filmmakers. Of course, as long as there is no anti-national or inflammatory content, we do not screen for the story and the content of the movie. And the criteria is strictly based on the number of shooting days as well as the cost of production, so that the same yardstick is applied to all filmmakers. Next slide. And finally, to encourage creative storytelling and good quality storytelling, we have additional incentives for films that win national or international awards. And the additional incentive is 25% of the already provided subsidy if the film goes on to win certain national and international awards. Thank you. I'm hoping the filmmakers and other aspiring filmmakers will come and shoot in J&K. And if there are any questions, concerns, queries, please feel free to connect with us. We are happy to accommodate and facilitate in any way